All right, what is going on, guys? So in this video, I'm going to break down my full guide to at-home workouts, right? How you can actually build strength and muscle at home with just your body weight and some minimal equipment. And the cool thing about learning this type of training is you can actually do it from anywhere you go, right? You can do it at home. You can do it from the hotel room when you're traveling. There's really no excuse to take time off the gym when you can use these workouts and these training tips to still get a good workout in, whether you have equipment or not. And funny enough, I actually got some of my quickest progress with my transformation doing a lot of these bodyweight workouts back in 2020 when the gyms were closed, right? I didn't let the gym closures hold me back from my fitness goals. So I decided to teach myself calisthenics, at-home workouts, how I can actually make that work. And I actually saw really good results. So with that being said, let's get into it. So first things first, just to give a little bit of backstory about myself, especially for those of you, this is the first time you've watched one of my videos. Growing up, I was a lot chubbier of a person, right? I had a lot of body fat on my frame. And as a result, I was always just not very confident. I was pretty shy, and I was always wearing, baggy clothes to look thinner. I'd be the dude who wouldn't take the shirt off at the pool party, right? So being that person for a long time eventually caught up to me. And I decided in high school, I really wanted to start making some improvements, right? I was playing sports, but I was always kind of the JV, dude, didn't really get a lot of playing time. Eventually I got into fitness, trying to educate myself about nutrition, what workouts to do. And I did see a decent amount of results, right? As you can see in the second picture, this was after a couple years, and I was able to put on some muscle, I lost some body fat. But based on what I was doing, I just wasn't seeing the results I wanted, right? I was hitting a lot of plateaus. At this point, I was lifting 5-6 times a week, and I was doing an hour cardio after that. So I was probably in the gym for about 2 hours, almost every single day. I was eating very restrictive diets. I was eating super low calorie. Honestly, I just was putting so much stress on my body and just not getting the results I wanted. And it was very frustrating because I really wanted to improve my physique, but I just was spinning my wheels and just was developing also a very unhealthy relationship with food as well. So this was kind of where I was back in 2020. And then obviously, the pandemic happened and gyms closed, which was frustrating because I was really into fitness at that time. So at this point, I decided I'm going to teach myself how to do more of the bodyweight calisthenics training. And for the next 6 months, this was actually probably one of the quickest transformations I've made in terms of my physique, right? The second and the third picture was literally 6 months apart. And the reason why it worked is because bodyweight training really incentivizes a leaner and stronger physique, right? So at this time, because I wasn't doing weightlifting, I wasn't getting as hungry. So I was able to stick to a calorie deficit more efficiently, but also through the bodyweight training. And because I was actually losing fat, my body weight lifts were actually getting stronger, right? Because if you think about it, if you're losing fat and gaining strength, then you're going to be able to do more pull-ups, do more push-ups, and really any other body weight lift, right? How you get stronger is not just building more strength and muscle, but actually losing fat makes the lift itself easier. So this was kind of where I started seeing some really good results by just doing the bodyweight training. Even today, I'll still even do bodyweight training a couple months out of the year just because it's really fun to do. I like doing a lot of these impressive movements, and you can impress people if you can get to the point where you're doing one-arm push-ups and things like that. So that's kind of my backstory of where I came from a fitness perspective. All right, so the first thing to take into consideration is obviously what exercises should we be doing, right? And regardless, you always want to have a set list of exercises when you go into your workout, right? You should know before you do your workout, these are the exact exercises that we're doing. It's always good to have a plan of what you're doing before your workout. And in terms of what I like to focus on is it's very similar to if you're lifting weights in the gym, right? There's only so many planes of movement that your body can do. And you really want to focus on these ones right here. You've got your vertical push-in, which is anything you're pushing above your head. You have your vertical pulling, anything you're pulling down, kind of like a pull-up, lat pull-down type of thing. You have horizontal push-in, which is anything you're pushing in front of you, like a push-up. You have horizontal pulling, anything you're pulling horizontally. And for lower body, obviously some sort of a squat, some sort of a hip hinge, which is kind of more of a deadlift, hip thrust type movement. And then obviously some sort of a lunge variation is great to have. I recommend focusing on those 7 planes of motion. And then anything else you do can be more of the isolation exercises. So for these, it's a lot more difficult to use your body weight. I find the best thing you can do is get a resistance band or, maybe a couple light dumbbells in your house, because there's a lot of isolation exercises you can do with just the resistance band and the dumbbells. For example, bicep curls, tricep extensions, lateral raises, right? These lifts aren't necessary, but it's kind of the icing on the cake to make sure you're hitting all of your weak points. So that's kind of the first thing to keep in mind. Second is your compound exercises, right? So now you kind of know what you're trying to focus on. What are some exercises you can do? And these are my list of the ones that I focus on. All of these videos, you can search in YouTube and see the full list of progressions. I'll probably even make my own videos on these, but just for timing and simplicity, these are the ones you want to focus on. So for vertical pushing, any sort of a pike push-up is really what you want to focus on. And there are beginner variations of this, and you can get all the way up to doing handstand push-ups, right? But this is the best way to really grow your shoulders. Vertical pushing is, of course, any pull-up progression, right? Even if you can't do bodyweight pull-ups, you can use resistance bands. You can do, pull-up negatives. There's a lot of different beginner variations you can do. Third is horizontal pushing. This is any sort of a push-up progression. Banging out a bunch of push-ups is not going to build you a big chest. What's going to build you a big chest is doing sets of, 5 to 10 reps, going very challenging with the progression, with the movement, right? Doing things like decline push-ups, doing side-to-side archer push-ups, right? You want to put more resistance on your push-ups versus just doing standard regular push-ups, right? So it's all about making the movement more challenging. And horizontal pulling is really any sort of a row. I find an inverted row is great, or you could even use a resistance band and do rows that way. For squat, pistol squats are great. You can do these assisted, holding on to something, or you can even do a goblet squat. You can hold a dumbbell. You can hold a backpack, put some weight in there. There's a lot of different ways to do that. And then for the hip hinge, you can do Romanian deadlifts. You can do single leg Romanian deadlifts, or you can do a glute bridge. Those are probably the 3 best. And then for lunges, pretty straightforward. You can do reverse lunges, forward lunges, and lateral lunges. So those are the exercises you want to focus on here. Now, as I mentioned before, you want to be doing some sort of isolation work, especially on some of your weak points, right? So I highly recommend getting a resistance band. I will bring one on any trip I go to because it gives you the option to work out from your hotel room and obviously from home or wherever you're doing it. But for 15, 20, 25 bucks, you can get a pretty good band and really hit the muscle groups you need to hit. You can even get different types of bands. You can get a heavy, a medium, or a light. But for these allow you to do a lot of those bicep curl, tricep extension, lateral raises, face pulls, rows, shrugs, right? Those are probably the big ones. But yeah, I think these are game changer to kind of supplement a lot of the body weight type movements. And obviously, if you have dumbbells, I think it's great to be able to use them as well, but you don't need the dumbbells. So now that you kind of know what to focus on, let's go over training frequency, right? How often should you actually work out? And the mindset I like to have is, what is the fastest rate of progression with these workouts without sacrificing recovery, right? What is the fastest I can work out without compromising my ability to recover from those workouts? And what it really comes down to is your central nervous system, right? If you're training hard on these exercises, your whole nervous system is going to be fatigued. And based on, the studies and obviously my personal experience, it takes a good 24 to 48 hours to fully recover, right? So in terms of what is the best frequency, I have seen the best results working out every other day, like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? Because every other day is 48 hours in between every session. So for example, I like doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you can take the weekends off, or you can actually do every other day, but it might mess with the days of the week that you're working out. So this would look like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but then Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, it would constantly be changing. So, if that's not a problem with you, then I'd say that's the better option. But if you want set days of the week, I'd say do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Or if you wanted to do 4 days, you can get away with a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday. That's kind of a 2 days on, 1 day off. You can definitely see good results with that, but it's one of those things you kind of need to try it out for yourself and see which one works better for you. So I would say no more than 3 or 4 workouts a week, because more than that is really you're cutting into your recovery. So you're not going to be able to progress as quick. So that's kind of the frequency you want to have. And then for any other day that you're not doing these workouts, obviously still, work out, be active, but you don't want to be doing a lot of the lifting. So things like doing cardio or going for a walk, getting the steps in, playing a sport, right? Or even doing some ab work. I find abs are not taxing on your nervous system. So you can do them after one of these workouts or on an off day, and it won't affect your progress. Now, the third component is training volume, right? How much should you work out per exercise? There's a lot of different approaches here. I'm just going to give you what works for me. I find 2 to 3 working sets per exercise is perfect, right? 2 or 3 sets where you're going to or near failure. The thing with bodyweight training is people will argue it doesn't work, you can't put enough tension. But if you're actually going near failure or to failure, you can put enough tension on your muscles for growth, right? That's what separates the people that see results and the ones that don't. You can do a set of 20, 30 push-ups, but you're not going to put the amount of tension as if you were to do a really hard set of 6 to 8 reps with maybe like a decline or an archer push-up, right? It's better to do the more intense progression for less reps, but going to failure or near failure than just doing, going through the motions and trying to do a bunch of reps. That's what I like to focus on, right? 2 or 3 hard sets, actually train hard, take it seriously, go near or to failure, especially with bodyweight exercises, right? You're not really going to hurt yourself going until failure, right? If you're, doing push-ups until you can't anymore, all that's going to happen is you might just stop doing push-ups. So that's kind of the mindset you want to have. And then it is definitely smart to do a warm-up set for a lot of these, a set that is a lighter variation. Maybe just do a couple reps, make sure you're getting a little warmed up, put a little blood flow to the muscle. And then in terms of how many reps, I find anywhere between 5 to 12 reps can work. I find less than 5 isn't as effective, and it's easier to cause, joint pains and things like that. But 5 to 8 is a sweet spot for really building that strength. And then 8 to 12 is definitely still building your strength, but you're getting a little bit more hypertrophy and helps kind of stimulate more muscle growth. Anything more than 12 reps, you're not really going to be building muscle with that, right? That's more building endurance. I like to use the compounds and really focus on the 5 to 12 rep range and actually build some muscle with it, right? If you want to burn calories, you can do some cardio, but when we're training, we're training. That's the mindset you want to have. And then for the isolation lifts, with these, you can go a little bit higher reps, especially if you're using a resistance band. You can do 10 to 15 reps, but you really want to make sure you're putting stress on the muscle. Like you want, 12, 13, 14, 15, those reps to actually be kind of, feeling the burn, being challenging, right? If you're just doing sets of 15 and you could easily keep going to 25 and 30, then it's not challenging enough. And with the bands, you can reduce and increase the slack to make it more challenging. So, if you kind of wrap the bands around twice, put more tension on it, then you can, obviously, the exercise is more challenging. So now that we've gone over, what you should focus on, how often should you train, how much volume, I want to talk about how you can actually progress, right? And this is very similar to weight lifting, where I like to use double progression, where with the weights, it's reps and weight that we're going to be changing. For this, it's reps and variation, right? With bodyweight training, you can't really change the weight, but what you can change is the variation of the movement. For example, a decline push-up is harder than a regular push-up. A archer push-up is harder than a decline push-up. A decline archer push-up is harder than an archer push-up, right? So there's different levels of these progressions. So what you want to do is change the level of progression and the reps simultaneously to make sure you're always progressing every single workout. Doing the same exact workout every week is not going to get you any progress. What's going to get you progress is improving every week or over time. So for example, this is kind of how this might look with some push-ups. So let's say right now, today's workout, you get 10 decline push-ups. Great. Next workout, I would recommend increasing the variation. So going up one more level. So increasing the difficulty, but then dropping the reps back down. So if you hit 10 decline push-ups, we're going to increase the variation. So go to the next level, but you're probably not going to be able to get 10 reps. So you want to drop the reps back down. So this might look like going to the archer push-up, but only going for 5, maybe 6 reps, right? And that's still a win because you're increasing to the next level. But at this point, our goal is, all right, since we just increased the difficulty, we're going to drop the reps back down. But then our goal for the next couple workouts is to increase the reps back up, right? So at this point, you might get 5 or 6 reps. The next workout, you can come in, try to get 6 or 7, 8 or 9, and eventually you can build it back up to 10. And once you get there, then you can do the same thing. You can increase the variation again and go to a decline archer push-up, right? So it's really just having your rep range, and every time you hit the top end of the rep range, so for example, 10 reps or 12 reps, you increase the variation and drop the rep range again. So as you can see, every workout, you're still progressing. Either you're going to add a rep or you're going to increase the variation. And just to recap, when you increase the variation, you don't want to increase the reps. You actually want to drop the reps, right? So, increase variation, drop reps, or variation stays the same and you increase reps, right? But every time the mindset is you want to do better than last week. or last workout. That's what stimulates that muscle growth. It's the progressive overload, right? So that is pretty much kind of the focus you want to have. And just to kind of recap real quick, you want to pick the right exercises. You want to have a list of exercises go into your workout. You want to prioritize the compound lifts. A lot of these are going to be bodyweight exercises. Of course, pick the progressions that you can actually do. There are beginner, there are intermediate, there are advanced, but you want to pick the ones that are also challenging too, right? And then second, it's good to finish off with some isolation stuff with the resistance band, or if you have dumbbells, you can use those too. For the frequency, 3 or 4 days a week, tops. You can do twice a week, but anywhere between that is really where you want to be. More than that, you're sacrificing recovery and you're not going to see as good results. Training volume, like I said, you really only need 2 or 3 working sets as long as you train hard. Pushing to or near failure, it's good to do a warm-up set. And then, of course, with this type of training, quality over quantity, right? You want to make every set count. And that's why you really need to push yourself on these sets. And then lastly, of course, progressive overload is what's going to get you the progress. You can do 1 through 3, but if you're not progressing, you're not going to see the progress you want. So make sure you're keeping track of exactly what you're doing, your reps, what progression you're doing, and try to improve every workout. So if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate your time and hopefully you found this helpful. And if you think you would benefit from having an actual customized program that uses all these strategies, but that can fit into your schedule and, prioritize the muscle groups that you want to focus on, then I highly recommend you checking out my Level Up Transformation program. And one thing I'll actually do is build you a customized program with your exact equipment selection, even if you don't have any equipment, that will still get you results every single week. And I'll actually show you an example of someone who's doing at-home workouts right now. All right, so as you can see, this is the platform that I use, and it's called TrueCoach, right? And whether you're doing a workout in the gym or a workout at home, it's relatively the same. You're going to have your workouts for the week delivered to you, and it's going to be set up kind of like a calendar. So for example, if you're busy and you're thinking, hey, maybe I can only get to 3 workouts a week, then this is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday program that this person has, where you're going to see your exact workout, so what exercise to do, but also how many reps, what variation, and how much weight if that applies. So for example, here I would assign you the workouts. You'd see exactly what to do, and then in the text box you would just write what you did for your sets, right? How many reps you did, and then every week I will actually improve that for you to make sure you're doing the right variation or increasing the reps when you should be. So this is a great way to not only have a customized approach for your exact situation, but it really gives you accountability and it makes it easy for the progression because I actually do the progression for you. So that's kind of how a lot of people are seeing really good results. And then everything has a video attached for form. So you don't have to worry about if you're doing it the right way. So this is a component of my program that I think will be very valuable for you if you're looking to have some structure and some accountability to actually see really good results without even getting a gym membership, right? And the last thing I want to show you is anyone who does join my program, I'll give you access to my school online course. So here you're going to get all the information you need about nutrition, energy balance, macros, food selection, how to track calories, how to adhere to your calories, right? All my training strategies. This applies to weight and non-weight exercises, cutting, bulking, mindset work, supplement recommendations, health, hormone optimization, all my best fat loss and lean bulking meals, cardio, stretching, mobility, exercise library. And for this video, I actually added a list of all of the progressions you can do. So if you want to, have all of this information of the exact exercises that I program in my bodyweight programs, then this is a great resource for you. So that's just a little bit of a sneak peek into my program. And if you think that having that structure and that accountability will be helpful for you and helping you achieve your goals in 2025, then what I'm going to do is put a link in the description where you can fill out a brief application. What we can do is set up a call just to kind of go over what your goals are, what you're looking to achieve, go over some details about the program. And if it's a good fit, we can go from there. If not, at least I'll give you some clarity and some free value on the call. So if that's something you're interested in, hit that link or shoot me a DM. And hopefully you found this presentation helpful.